Well, good afternoon and welcome to this Thursday Thought. I have a friend that I'll call Sonya. Sonya and I have known each other for over 10 years. We first met shortly after she got herself clean from dope and exited a safe house to get away from an abuser and set up her own apartment. The woman who operated the safe house had put me in touch with Sonya because she needed to have some repairs made to her apartment that the landlord wouldn't do. Well, at the time, I was doing things like that for people who otherwise couldn't afford to hire someone, and I usually worked through people like that safe house woman. Our friendship continued over these past years as Sonya continued to climb out of the hole that she had dug for herself. She eventually qualified for and found work as a counselor for a recovery center, and she continued over the years to come back into the mainstream of society. She now is buying a home, she has transportation, a good job with the county health department, and she's helping others who are where she once was. Sonya contacted me a couple of days ago and asked if I had time to talk. Well, I did, and I immediately called her and found out that she'd been in an auto accident the evening before. Someone had made a left turn in front of her and ran into the front of her car. The woman who did this did not have a license to drive. She was an illegal immigrant, and she didn't own the car she was driving. And additionally, the woman who made the turn and hit Sonya accused Sonya of speeding when she filled out the police report, rather than taking responsibility for making that left-hand turn in front of her. Well, Sonya was devastated. Her vehicle was totaled. She needs transportation for her job. She was in the process of buying that car that she was driving and really liked it, a nicer, newer car she had purchased a couple of years ago. As is often the case, she owed more on the car than what the depreciated value was. She also tried to rent a car, but none in a price range she could afford were available at that time. And additionally, although she didn't present to the emergency room, she was bruised up and she was sore because the airbags went off in her car, and she was shaken up pretty good. She says the soreness isn't just muscle soreness, that it somehow or another feels a little different, maybe bones, tendons, that kind of thing. It was just a tough day for her all the way around. Well, Sonya did have full coverage with $1,000 deductible for collision, and she had a rider on her policy that would pay the difference between what the car was valued at and what she owed. But she didn't, however, have rental car insurance, as she was unaware of its availability on her policy. And although the owner of the other vehicle had insurance, that policy is not going to cover an unlicensed and undocumented driver. Neither the owner or the driver have any real resources to speak of, so Sonya's pretty much on her own here, using her own insurance as best she can, bruised and sore, missing work to find a rental car she can afford, and now having to look for another car and starting over on paying the loan at an interest rate that's going to be double what the other interest rate was on the car that she bought a couple of years ago and now is totaled out. She has no down payment. She has nothing to trade in on another car and will somehow have to come up with that $1,000 deductible. Well, the woman at Sonya's insurance said that she couldn't tell her what to do, but she discreetly suggested that Sonya contact an injury attorney, which Sonya said she would do. She also has seen her regular medical provider in lieu of going to the emergency room. Sonya's insurance has also opened up a personal injury claim for her. Well, okay, I tell you this story to let you know just how much someone's actions can affect the life of someone else. I don't intend to make this a diatribe on immigration or illegal immigrants. I readily confess I don't know what to do, if anything, about that situation. As I've often said about other issues of the day, and will say it about this issue too, I don't know the answers here. And I don't even know what questions to ask for sure. What I do know is that Sonya's well-being and possibly her health were deeply negatively affected by this woman who shouldn't have even been here, or at least not been driving, under present law. Sonya was also deeply negatively affected by someone who owned the car, who allowed the woman to drive his vehicle, even though she had no license to drive and was not insured. Well, Sonya will get through this. She's as tough as nails as far as life and living are concerned. She's been through it all, and she's come out on the other side as a woman who not only has survived, but has really thrived these past years. This incident is not going to stop her, even though it will slow her down a bit temporarily. Okay, people, you probably aren't someone like the woman who hit Sonya's car, but just like her, you need to understand that the things you do affect not only you, but have a ripple effect that touches others in ways you may never well be aware of. You know, I've had a few vehicle accidents in my long driving history. Some were my fault, some weren't. And I've often thought, especially for those accidents where I was the one at fault, of the additional work, time, and energy that the person I collided with would have to go through just to make things whole again. Insurance claims, car repair, rental vehicles, time off from work. The list just goes on. And this effect on others isn't just something that happens with auto accidents. Anytime you interact with someone else, you affect their life in some way. It may be very subtle. It may not even be noticeable, but it's there. Just be aware of that and act accordingly. Take to heart the words of Jesus as he counseled us to love our neighbor and to treat others as we would like to be treated. May your day be blessed.